Entrepreneurship Monitor, which is published by Babson College. The #1 entrepreneurship school in the United States is Babson College, and the London School of Economics, or the sources for this, that 93% of businesses are copies of other existing businesses. Well, what about Facebook? Remember, there was MySpace before there was Facebook, right? Microsoft wasn't the first guy who wrote an operating system. As a matter of fact, Microsoft bought an operating system from someone who couldn't sell it for $76,000. And Microsoft basically copied their first thing from somebody else. You look at all of the great entrepreneurs, 93% of them are thieves. But no one cares. Zuckerberg is still famous. Was Amazon the first guy to sell stuff online? No. Bill Crossley here in Atlanta was the first guy who ever said, I will give you the first chapter of a book for free, and you can read that chapter and decide if you ever want to buy the book. That's now called Kindle. Have you ever heard of Bill Crossley? No. He's famous, though. He was Colin Powell's chief of staff. He was a one-star general, and in the 1980s, he's the guy that took Pershing missiles into Poland to counter the Soviet threat in Afghanistan. But you didn't know that he's the guy who invented Kindle, did you? Remember I was telling you about my dental business? He's my business partner in the dental business now. Small world. But most of us are just thieves. So when I say, oh, I really want to be an entrepreneur when I grow up, I want to be, I just can't. I'm waiting for God to throw a creativity lightning bolt at me, and when He does, when she does, what am I going to do? Oh boy, I'm going to start the greatest business. When I get my idea, when I get that, oh, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to do amazing. When I get my idea, and what happens to that person? After 35 years, someone gives them a gold watch for working at their business for their entire career. Because they were waiting. And so if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to go and start a business, the best thing to do is just go steal someone else's idea. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not going to steal your trademark. I'm not going to steal your copyrights. I'm not going to steal any of the patents that you have, because that's illegal. But it's completely legal to see someone else's idea and just do it better than them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called the American way. Do your friends care? No. Do your employees care? Does the bank care? No. And most importantly, do your customers care if your idea is a copy? No. All they want is for you to deliver an excellent product at a fair price. They don't care where you got your idea from. It's always fun to talk about, but no one cares, and no one's going to pay you extra for being original. As a matter of fact, I learned an interesting lesson. When I took my summer camp business to Europe, we opened in the United Kingdom first. Why? Because they speak English there, so that'll be easier than moving into France. But we discovered something really, really interesting. In the United Kingdom, what do kids do during the summertime? They go stand on street corners and smoke cigarettes. Their parents don't send them to summer camp. As a matter of fact, the summer camps in England operate during the school year, and the entire school, the entire third grade from Somerset Elementary School, the entire third grade goes to summer camp together for a couple of weeks, and then they go back to school. But during the summer, they don't do that. So when I took my business to the United Kingdom, I had to introduce them to not only me and my business, but to the entire idea that during the summer you should get rid of your kids and give them something smart to do. They didn't know that. So it was even harder for me because I had to introduce a whole new concept to them. You see what I'm talking about? And then I had to convince them that I was the best one to solve that problem. I had two things I had to teach them. So I don't want you to wait. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you should go start a business. Just find something in your industry that you know a lot about and go do it better than anyone else's. I'm not going to wait on that lightning bolt. So the truth of entrepreneurship, have you heard this definition? Entrepreneurs are creative people who take risks to start businesses that they're passionate about. If I told you that was the definition of entrepreneurship, would you all agree with me? Entrepreneurs are creative people who take risks to start businesses that they're passionate about. Well, I've already told you I could care less about risk. I hate risk. I'm going to do everything I can to avoid risk. And now I've told you I don't care about creativity. And later on today, I'll tell you that passion is reserved for the bedroom. We're all adults here, right? I can say that in here. Right? You don't get any extra points for being passionate. You know what I'm passionate about? The fact that I wear blue jeans all day. I'm passionate about the fact that I don't have a commute because my business is run from my house. I'm passionate that I don't have a boss. That's cool to me. I'm passionate about being an entrepreneur. I don't care what kind of entrepreneur I am. I'm a healthcare entrepreneur. I don't care. All I'm passionate about is not the product, not the service, but the lifestyle that comes with it. If I want to make more money as an entrepreneur, what do? Work more. That's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about the freedom. So I think the entire definition of entrepreneurship is wrong. The truth of entrepreneurship is creativity is really cool, but most people that are creative, we call them artists. Not entrepreneurs. Can you be an artist and not be creative? No, you need to be a little bit creative to be an artist. But for entrepreneurship, you don't get any extra points. But we'll teach you to be more creative anyway, right before lunch, right? So let's do a little bit of creativity work. So we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. I want to teach you how to brainstorm a little bit. The whole point of brainstorming is that us 5 guys sit down at one table, and I have one idea. And he hears my idea, and that makes him think of an idea. And the ideas branch off together because we're sharing our ideas, and then we write them down, and I see something that he wrote down, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Because of that idea, it makes me think of something else. And so you brainstorm that way. You all have seen this process. One idea becomes many. It was started in this book. And here are the processes, right? We're going to have a problem, and so when you brainstorm, you should say, we're going to brainstorm around an idea, right? Otherwise, it just goes all over the place. You list the ideas, number 2, by putting them on a board so that everyone can see the list. You look at the list and say, I want healthcare. I want to solve the problem of healthcare. So we're going to brainstorm on healthcare. And one person says, well, it sure would be easier to solve cancer if we could put people in a gravity-free area, because in gravity, cancer doesn't grow as fast. Oh, gravity-free, that's the moon. We should put people with cancer on the moon. And that's how we're going to solve cancer, by making people go to the moon who have cancer. I wouldn't have said that until you said gravity. And I wouldn't have said gravity unless I saw it on the board. So number 2, we're going to write everything down. We're going to be very spontaneous. And here's the most important thing. There are no bad ideas in this game. Right? Every idea is a good idea, no matter how stupid. Is it realistic that we're going to send everyone with cancer to the moon? Is that realistic? Not today. Maybe in 50 years that'll be the standard practice. Right? Who knows? And here are some rules too. The most important thing is this bottom one. Bottom 2. There's no laughing at stupid ideas. There's no laughing. I promise you this, when I told my parents that I wanted to start a summer camp at Stanford and MIT, I'm 25 years old and I've never taught anyone anything in my life. I have no education in education. I have no idea how to teach people. And I'm going to get MIT, Stanford, and I'm going to have Intel and Microsoft sponsor it. What did my father do? He laughed. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's so stupid. Yeah, go get a job, moron. That's what he said. Go get a job. And I did. And guess what they did at that job? They asked me to leave. Coca-Cola. If you notice I keep getting asked to leave places, it's happened a lot to me. But we're not going to ask how we get people to the moon. We're not going to ask that question. Instead, we're going to say, why not? And Elon Musk's telling me that he's going to have people flying around 2 or 3 years from now. If he can do that, can he land people on the moon? Probably in 10 or 15 years. You know, that's pretty realistic. So we're not going to try to limit this. We're not going to say, that's a stupid idea. We're going to say, that's an interesting idea. How can we make it happen? That's called entrepreneurship. All right, so here are some of the steps. I don't want to get too bogged down in this because I know we're short on time. Instead, I want to play some games. This is a great graph, though. I want to spend 1 second on this. Lots of us get approached all the time by ideas. If you go to TIE with regularity, you'll see people, thousands of different ideas. People will come up to you and say, hey, would you invest in my idea? You want to help with this? And this is really very close to my life. I probably get exposed to 1,400 new ideas a year. Every day, 2 or 3 ideas I think of, people ask me about. You know, I do a radio show. I don't think in my introduction they mentioned that I have a nationally syndicated radio show. I'm in 15 cities around the United States with a daily radio show on entrepreneurship. And so I get exposed to tons of ideas. Some of them I look at and go, that's not an idea I'm interested in. I'm not interested in that. Or, I'm not the one to do that. I'm not good at that stuff. I don't really want to be involved in that. And so I don't do them. But every year, I come up with 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 ideas that I really think are pretty sexy. And my wife says you're allowed to do 1 a year. Right? And so I investigate 5 or 6 ideas and choose 1 to try to do every year. Then I do a couple that I don't tell her about. Last year I got caught stealing from I stole $100,000 from our investments without telling my wife. Guess what she invited me to leave? The bedroom. Okay, how many squares do you see? You've all seen a game like this. Right, how many squares are there? 16? Right, 16 squares. No, we forgot the 2x2s, and the 3x3s, and the 4x4s, right? Oh, I forgot to tell you it's a cube. It's not planar, it's a cube. How many squares are there now? Thousands. Oh, but then we all live in the computer world where we studied something called pixels. How many squares are there in this? Billions of squares, right? So this is fun to play for the 16-year-olds like this game because they haven't been exposed to this one yet. All right, here's one of my favorite games. I want you all to take out a sheet of paper. We're actually going to play a game here. Get your little pad of paper, and I want you to tear the paper off the pad. I want you to have a sheet of paper. Here you go. Here's one for you. They gave you a pen, so you have all your supplies. I want you to write your name on this sheet of paper as creatively as possible 5 times. I'm going to give you a minute. So I'll shut up for 1 minute. I want you to write your name as creatively as possible on this sheet of paper 5 times. And I'm going to come around and grade some of you. I'm looking for the most creative sheet of paper. I have a potential winner. I have one person I think is doing well so far. Everyone else is doing pretty bad. You're doing pretty good. You're doing what we call horrible work. You don't even have any yet. You need to, your name, do I have to help you with spelling your name? Okay, you've got some good ones. You're doing good work. Ooh, this is very good work. This table over here is better. I think they're cheating, this table. This table is stealing ideas from other people, which we don't approve of. Oh, that's some good work. You know what? The further I get away from you people, the better we're doing. All right, let me show you my first answers, and then we can judge how you did. First of all, I want to point out this. Paper has 2 sides. Did anyone bother to turn their paper over and use the back? One person did. I asked 2 people did. I asked you to write it. Well, did you write on both sides or just one side? Both sides. I pointed that out. Also, I'd say 90% of you used these lines as a guide and went straight down the lines. How creative is that? You don't get any points if you're on one side of the paper and you go straight down the lines, right? But here's my first thought. Jim, 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 and here's my signature if you want to forge a check. That's what my checks look like. All right? But here are some of the better answers that I've accumulated over the years, right? 10, 9, 13, what's that? J is the 10th letter, I is the 9th letter, M is the 13th letter. This is a really good one right here. It has all of the letters except the letters of my name in it. The first line has no J. The second line has no I. The third line has no M. Here's Jim made out of dots. Here's Jim with a heart over it. Here's Jim in Morse code. Here's a box of Jim. There's a box of Jim. Here's my name in Spanish. I created my own language right here. This I made up entirely by myself. There it is at the top in Japanese. I used to live in Japan. I did not get kicked out of Japan, I want to let you know. They let me stay. And Chimu Bichi up there in Japanese. So, who did the best? Who wants to claim they did the best? Gaurav right here is a strong candidate. I like this one. He's creating his own letter here. This first thing here, I've never seen that before. It's his own letter. This is a good one here, but it's straight down the line, so you lose points for that, right? You understand my point? Let's see if we can get a little bit more creative. And here is the exact process that I use at TIE, T-Y-E, not T-I-E, the Youth Entrepreneurship Program, right? This is the process that we do the first day with the 16, 17-year-old kids. And I start off with, I'm going to skip some of this. Start off with this. Describe a city that is the exact opposite of Atlanta. Tell me the exact opposite of Atlanta. And I'll give you the best answer I've ever heard. This is a little dirty and gross, but it's the best answer I've ever heard. And the exact opposite of Atlanta, they eat in private, hiding, but they go to the bathroom in public. That's a good answer, isn't it? That's creative. And so here's what we do in this exercise. We list all of the things that are the exact opposite of Atlanta. Another one of my favorite answers is winning sports teams. Right? What else is the exact opposite of Atlanta? Give me some of your answers. Tell me some of them, please. Smallest airport in the world, yes. This table, give me an answer.
No traffic.
No traffic, good. What else?
Desert.
Desert, city, what? No businesses. No gym beach.
No trees.
No trees, another great answer. What else?
Very cold.
What's the culture like? What's the culture like in that city?
Hostile.
Yes. What else? What else can you think of? You've talked about geography, we've talked about culture, we've talked about climate. Right? You can go through the whole list. We talked about demographics, it's got a small airport, right? Then I have them do all of this and make a list of everything that is the exact opposite of Atlanta. And then the next thing is come up with a product or a list of products that people in that city would like. So it's a cold city. It's got a lot of snow. Maybe it's in the desert. So it's high altitude desert city where it gets a lot of snow. Do deserts get snow? Yes, they do. Not all of them, but some of them do, right? What product would you need there? And they make a list of 10 or 15 products that they would need there. And then they choose one to focus in on. And we play a game of how we would market that, right? So in a place where you live in a high altitude desert, where the people are hostile, where there is no good airport, where the sports teams always win, what products would be needed? Snowshoes? Right? Then how would you market it to those people? So this is what a brainstorm looks like, that you end up coming out with a list of products that would be useful for a group of kids. This is the exact same process that we came up with last year that the chill wipes was developed from. Because eventually we switch back and say, okay, now let's do the same thing for Atlanta. What does Atlanta need? What are the things that we could do here better? And one of them said, it's too damn hot in Atlanta, and I sweat all summer. And so one of the products they came up with is, what if you walked around in an entire bodysuit of water? Right? Because the water is cool. What do we do when we get hot and we jump in a swimming pool? What if we walked around in a mobile swimming pool? That's not a bad idea. I don't know that that would be very attractive. And that's where the chill wipe idea came from playing this game, and they won a global competition that beat a product that cleans the air all around the world through this silly little game. You can do this game at your business. Sit around the table and take 10 minutes and say, we make X right now. How could we make X1? What could we do to extend the revenue streams of this business? Who has the stupidest idea gets free lunch today. And then you try to figure out how to do that stupid idea and make it work. And you have an incredible new revenue stream that's absolutely foolproof, right? I've run 10 or 15, 20 businesses, I have no clue. Never once have I had a creative idea. But people say how creative I am because I took Killam carpet and put it on a chair. That's an idea I stole from the Montecito flea market. My computer camp was called Creative. We won tons of awards. I just did it better than the other guy. Creativity is useless. There are no bad ideas. Don't look for ideas, go steal them. And I'm available on LinkedIn. I accept all invitations to link on LinkedIn. My name is Jim Beach. That's the book that I wrote. This book talks about the Pakistani Furniture Company and the other 12 times I won that bet. I won that bet in Argentina, Brazil, Korea, Japan, the United Kingdom, India, Pakistan, and Egypt. I never lost the bet. That book tells about it. McGraw-Hill bestseller. That's all I got to say. Have a great lunch. I'll be back in the afternoon for even more stuff. Thanks a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Do you want me to do questions? Yep. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to say, or just tell me I'm a moron, or ask me to leave? Oh, no, we never did North, it was South Korea. Yeah. So, yeah. But you know what? Pakistan to me is it's just as difficult as North Korea in a lot of ways. And I know what Indians think of Pakistan. And you're right. Turn the camera off. Anyone else have any questions or anything? Y'all just want to eat lunch? I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Jim. Please give him a big